The Hunting Public is a do-it-yourself hunting channel based in Missouri, and its entire purpose is to educate new and inexperienced hunters. Most of their content follows the same dependable format. The hosts travel to different locations, track down the game, and usually close out the hunt by the end, explaining their thought process at every step along the way. The video they filmed on September 25th, 2022 was meant to be no different. Two of the channel's hosts, Ted and Nick, set out to bow hunt deer on public land in their home state. What they had no way of knowing was that this trip was about to be cut short by the most disturbing encounter they had ever had in the wilderness. It happened at roughly 6:45 in the evening. The two were tucked up in a tree waiting for a deer to wander into view when out of nowhere they heard what sounded like a loud scream somewhere off in the distance. It was far too distinctly human to have come from an animal, and as unsettling as that was on its own, it turned out to be only the beginning of a much more haunting sequence of events. The screaming didn't let up. For the next 30 minutes, it carried on, growing more manic and more blood-curdling with every passing minute. Then things took a sharper turn when they heard the sound of several gunshots coming from that same direction. Now, all of this could still have had a perfectly reasonable explanation. Maybe the person screaming was being chased by a predator, something like a black bear, and had fired their weapon in self-defense. What made that explanation hard to accept, though, were the few coherent words the two men could make out between the screams. The voice was crying out for help and spitting out raw declarations of hatred toward someone else. The words became even more disturbing after the gunshots when the voice screamed out a desperate plea for help, along with the accusation that someone had just been killed. On top of the screaming, the shouting, and the gunfire, the two hunters also heard the sound of multiple vehicles speeding off, and then all at once, everything fell silent. By this point, Ted and Nick were convinced they had just heard a horrific crime take place less than half a mile from where they were sitting. But they were trapped by their circumstances. There was no cell service that deep in the wilderness, so making a report was impossible. And the only way out of the woods led in the exact same direction as the screaming. Getting too close and alerting what could easily be an armed and dangerous group could have cost them their lives. So they made the safest decision available to them. They stayed silently hidden in the trees for the next several hours and didn't begin working their way back until it was completely dark outside. They eventually made it back to their vehicle and drove until they reached a spot with cell reception to report what they'd heard. But from what could be found afterward, the authorities were never able to locate a body or even find any evidence of a crime at the location Ted and Nick pointed them to. That left the entire encounter unresolved. People online came up with plenty of theories to explain it, ranging from a firing squad-style execution to someone suffering a drug-fueled mental breakdown with a gun in their hand. But many others accused the hunting public of faking the whole thing, a common tactic for struggling YouTube channels chasing a viral moment. That accusation, however, doesn't hold up well. The channel had a fairly consistent viewership before this video, and it didn't spike by any significant amount afterward. They also have well over 1,400 regular hunting videos, and this is the only one that features a strange encounter like this. Channels that fake their content usually have a trail of other suspicious videos. And beyond all that, the scream simply sounded too primal and too emotional for anyone to fake that convincingly. Put plainly, what they heard was more than likely real. Unfortunately, it has now been over 3 years since the incident, and there are still no answers about what any of it was really about. If an active shooting or violent confrontation blocks your only way out, do not run blindly toward it. Hunker down, stay concealed, and wait for total silence or darkness before attempting a slow, stealthy retreat. While you wait, gather intelligence. Count the shots, note vehicle sounds and directions, and if your device allows it, drop an offline GPS pin. Those specific details and precise coordinates give responding authorities a real starting point instead of a vague guess. Muskrat of Muskrat Outdoors was out with his wife Cindy checking their bear bait station when the two of them noticed an old, overgrown trail they'd never come across before. Whatever was waiting at the end of it would leave them with troubling questions about the person who'd left it behind.
Come across something here extremely strange. I'm not really sure what to make of this. We found an old trail here. We walked down the trail, and here hanging in this tree here, right underneath that pole, was what I thought was a barrel that was probably used as a martin box. What it turned out to be is an old milk can, and stranger yet, the lid was on it. I pulled the lid off of it, and look at this. What in the world? Why would anybody... That's a pine marten. It's all been skinned and stretched. This is a coyote. Looks like several coyotes.
They followed the path, and by the time they had finished emptying the container they'd found there, they had pulled out the pelts of several different animals.
Okay, this is this is really strange. I don't understand any of this. This old milk can here that was hanging in this tree. It was right here. In fact, there's part of the wire it was hanging on. Just kind of up underneath this tree here. That milk can had a coyote in it, 2 marten that were loose, a fox with a marten that was stuffed inside of the fox, so 3 marten, a fox, a coyote, and 2 badgers. They've been here a long time. They've turned green and moldy, but they're all stretched, fleshed, dried, ready for sale, stuffed into a milk can tied to a tree.
The questions were impossible to shake. What could push a trapper to abandon an entire season's worth of work?
In the middle of nowhere, this spot here is probably, I'm guessing 25 miles from the closest town or house. Let's see, 20, 40, 60, 80, there's at least $100 worth of furs there, even on a bad year. And why would you go through that much effort and then just leave it there tied to a tree?
Why stash the pelts inside a milk can rather than carry them out to sell? And most disturbing of all, what stopped that person from ever coming back for them?
Kind of don't feel right just leaving these critters laying in the woods, but they're not good for nothing, and I don't know. What a waste. The marten were skinned with the feet on. That's kind of time consuming, getting those little toe bones out of there. We don't have that many badger in this area. Almost like he got them someplace else.
It didn't sit right with Muskrat to leave the animals lying out there in the woods, yet there was no use left in them either. Such a waste. The martens had been skinned with their feet still on, a slow, painstaking job that meant working every one of those little toe bones out by hand. The badgers were their own riddle, since that area held hardly any badgers at all. almost as though whoever caught them had trapped them somewhere else entirely. But after all those years of decay, the pelts had turned worthless. There was nothing left to be done. Then, just as they were getting ready to leave, Muskrat had one last realization that sent a chill through him.
Actually, really kind of strange, but I don't know if I believe in the whole Bigfoot tree structure things, but this one is a little weird. Actually, somebody was cutting some of this up for firewood, but it's a very strange stack, the way they've got it all tangled in this tree.
Someone had been cutting up pieces for firewood nearby, but the way it had been left made no sense at all. The heavy logs were woven and tangled up into the tree's branches, laced through in a pattern that served no practical purpose whatsoever. Even a man who didn't put much stock in the whole idea of Bigfoot tree structures had to admit this one was genuinely odd. Down in the video's comment section, viewers started sharing stories of their own. Accounts of trappers and hunters who had vanished in wilderness areas exactly like this one. A few were eventually found, their remains scattered by animals. Others simply disappeared for good, leaving nothing behind but questions. And one detail kept gnawing at everyone who watched the footage. If the trapper had met with some accident or gotten lost, why was that milk secured so carefully? Why would a person in real distress take the time to hang it up properly and seal the lid? The milk can now sit in Muskrat's possession, but the questions surrounding it remain unanswered. Treat valuable gear left to rot deep in the wilderness as a serious warning sign, not a lucky find. When something worth real money is abandoned in the backcountry, it usually means its owner ran into a catastrophic emergency and never made it back out. Handle the items as little as possible so you don't disturb any potential forensic evidence. Mark the exact coordinates of the location and report what you found to local search and rescue teams right away. What looks like a forgotten stash could be the last trace of someone who never made it home. On November 27, 2024, a man set out to take his daughter on her very first bow hunt, choosing public land in South Dakota for the occasion. He later posted the footage to his YouTube channel, Homeschool Hunter, where it went on to rack up more than 1 million views. Not long after the two of them settled in and began their hunt, a motion-activated trail camera suddenly triggered nearby, a possible sign that another hunter was already somewhere in the area. The father and daughter did their best to stay as quiet as they could. Before long, though, a man appeared. He immediately accused them of interfering with his hunt, despite the fact that the land was open to anyone. The tension climbed quickly as he insisted they had no business being out there. Part of what set him off was his trail camera, which he complained was running low on the battery, and he was clearly angry that the two of them had set up so close to it.
This is hunter harassment.
No, it isn't. I'm checking my camera because it's getting low.
Okay.
You're harassment because you come in here and are fucking up my hunting area.
This is not your hunting area. This is public land. What are you talking
Well,
about?
this ain't public land. This is private.
This is
but
walk-in land.
Walk-in now.
It's walk-in land.
You're not teaching a young hunter very good etiquette.
You are hunter harassing.
No, I'm not.
I was up here hunting.
Yep, and I'm.
He claimed he had been hunting that particular area for a very long time, and said this sort of thing seemed to happen to him constantly. From there, he criticized the father and daughter for what he called a lack of hunter etiquette. They pushed back, pointing out that his own behavior was hardly respectful or ethical. That exchange opened up into a much broader argument about the use of public land. In their view, having gear already set up in a spot, or having hunted there in the past, gave no one an exclusive claim to it.
Camera. Yeah, you
My
can't come up
camera's getting low on battery.
I'm sitting next to him. It doesn't mean
And
you
I
can come
need
up
to
and
change
check it. Go ahead and change it. Hop out of here.
I will.
Go ahead.
I will.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Thank you.
Not very good at hunter etiquette. I've been
Exactly.
hunting
You're
for-
up here talking in full voice, and
I
you're
don't
complaining
care
about
about-
my hunter etiquette. I'm hunting.
I don't care.
Well, I'm glad.
I've been hunting for so many years. Everybody's doing this to me all the time.
I get it. Well, now it's your turn, I guess, because just because other people do it to you doesn't mean you should do it to other people.
Well, then show a little etiquette. This is hunter etiquette. Look at the camera.
I can sit here.
You want me to take pictures of that? I'll take pictures of you too.
Go ahead. Doesn't bother me. I'm not doing anything illegal. You're the one who's hunter harassing.
No, I'm not. This is my camera. It was.
You should know that I'm hunting here then. You should know that I'm up here hunting then. I saw it going off. You knew I was here.
No,
Yes, you did. I saw the infrared going off in the dark this morning. You know I was here. Just change your batteries and leave. Just
Just
change your batteries and leave.
So I will.
Appreciate it.
This is not a good way to teach a youngster.
Yes, it is. We're hunting on public land.
Yeah.
You're the one who's coming up here messing up our hunt.
There was somebody hunting here with all this
It
stuff.
doesn't matter if
that's going
no,
around.
there's nobody else hunting here this
No,
morning.
not right now.
Of course not right
But
now.
you know where how you're
Just
sitting
because
here?
somebody hunted here in the past means I can't hunt on public land. Give me a break. Get out of here.
In the past, it's not past. And actually, this just went into. Freddie used to have this.
I don't care if it
regular
was
private.
never public land for 1,000 years. It's public land right now.
Yep.
I'm hunting public land.
And
You
do
came
know
up here
which
and
way
messed
the wind
with
is
me.
blowing?
It doesn't matter.
Do you know which way the wind is blowing?
It doesn't matter how I hunt.
You're gonna
I can
come up
hunt.
Here, that's gonna go. They're gonna blow out.
Doesn't matter
before
how
you
I
get
hunt.
out. So.
The father and daughter held their ground, maintaining that they were well within the law and weren't disturbing anyone. The man, for his part, kept insisting they should have known he was there since his camera had captured them on it earlier that same morning. The back and forth dragged on for a while, but eventually the man walked off. Rather than let the confrontation sour the rest of their day, the father and daughter chose to call off the hunt and come back another time. Never rise to meet the anger of an aggressive, armed stranger in the woods. Keep your hands visible, keep your voice calm and even, and use your phone to record the encounter so you have legal proof of what happened. Your safety is worth far more than your pride, so if it means diffusing the situation, voluntarily leave the area rather than dig in and stand your ground. Once you're clear, report the harassment to the game wardens and let them handle it from there. In November of 2022, a bow hunter from Michigan named Brendan Fitzpatrick was camped out alone inside his hunting blind, quietly waiting for a deer to step into view when a voice he didn't recognize suddenly startled him. Brendan looked outside to see who was there and found himself face to face with an angry-looking man pointing an AR directly at him. He tried to explain the situation, but the man had no interest in hearing any of it, and only grew more and more hostile as the moment dragged on.
Up there right now.
All right.
But I just want to show you kind of why we're here. I mean, we pay good money to hunt this property. We've been hunting it for years.
No, you ain't been moving for years. I've been here 8 years.
Do you live on this property right here?
Sir, you're not listening to me. I'm not.
I just want to talk to you. I'm sorry.
At one point, the man told Brendan to put his phone down and then said something that could only be read as a threat.
Phone down.
You have an AR in front of me. I'm scared.
Put your phone down.
Dude, I'm scared right now.
Okay, well, it's gonna be more scary. Put your phone down. Are you attacking me?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I'm hunting. I'm hunting with.
Drop your phone.
Oh my God.
Drop your phone.
Sir,
Listen to me.
I'm bow hunting. I don't have any guns on me.
I know that.
Brendan explained that with an AR pointed at him, he was scared, and the man's reply made it worse, warning that things were about to get even more frightening. He kept demanding that Brendan drop the phone and even accused him of attacking, despite the fact that Brendan was doing everything within his power to cooperate and stay calm. That accusation, thrown out while Brendan was completely non-threatening, came off like a man searching for an excuse to open fire and later claim self-defense. The man kept ordering Brendan to clear out of the area, all while continuing to threaten him with both his gun and his aggressive-sounding dog. Brendan tried to reason with him, explaining that he wasn't trespassing at all, that the land he was on had been legally leased for bow hunting, which was true, and something he and his family had been doing there for several years. But no matter how reasonable the explanation was, the man refused to accept a word of it and just kept trying to intimidate him. What made the whole encounter even more unnerving was that the man wouldn't so much as give his name, making it obvious he had zero interest in any kind of civil conversation. On top of that, he dropped the name Chai Vang while threatening Brendan, a reference to a violent criminal who killed 6 people and wounded 2 others from a hunting party back in 2004. The implication was chilling and unmistakable. He was suggesting he was willing to do the very same thing to Brendan if he didn't do as he was told. Fortunately, Brendan managed to keep his composure and avoid provoking the man any further, and he lived to see another day. Afterward, he tried to press charges, but the police weren't nearly as helpful as he had hoped. They essentially told him he didn't have enough evidence to build a criminal case and left it at that. But that wasn't the end of it. A year later, on November 25th, 2023, Brendan's brother crossed paths with the very same man while hunting in the area. Because of everything that had happened the year before, he made a point of positioning his tree stand more than 150 yards away from where the original confrontation took place. Yet, for whatever reason, the man turned even more hostile this time, opening fire without saying a single word. By sheer luck, none of the shots found their mark, and Brendan's brother was able to get out of the area unharmed. Still, according to Brendan, the authorities once again declined to file any charges, citing that same lack of evidence. The only real silver lining in this disturbing case is that no one was actually hurt. Brendan and his family have since returned to hunting, most likely at a completely different location. If someone points a firearm at you at close range, comply with their physical demands immediately and completely to keep their trigger finger calm. This is not the moment to argue your case, no matter how right you are. This unsettling piece of footage comes out of Russia, and it opens in about the most baffling way imaginable, with a hunter walking up and kicking a bear square in the back. It's a reckless, almost unthinkable move, and the consequences are immediate and furious. In the chaos that erupts in the seconds afterward, the hunter loses his grip on his camera as the animal turns on him. From that point on, the footage captures nothing but frantic, jerking movement and the raw sounds of the attack as the whole situation spins completely out of control. Against every expectation, the hunter somehow came away from it with nothing worse than an injured hand. This footage comes from the channel Living for the Rut. A hunter was out on what seemed like a perfectly routine elk hunt when the entire situation took a sudden and terrifying turn. In the beginning, the elk actually started moving toward him, exactly the kind of approach a hunter hopes for. Then, without any warning at all, the animal spun around and bolted in the opposite direction. That was the moment panic began to creep in. The hunters had no idea what had frightened the elk so badly until it dawned on them that a wolf pack was somewhere close by. The predators wasted no time splitting apart and beginning to circle the men. Fortunately, the hunters managed to get out of there and escape before the wolves were able to close in around them.